Meeting. Happy birthday. We have our lovely ladies from First Hawaii here. They sponsored our birthday party. Thank you guys. So please come and enjoy it. Get up whenever you want throughout the meeting. Dawn, thank you for starting us off. And ladies, I'll turn it over to you. If you can come over here, then you'll be on camera. No, sure.
Good morning, everybody. Gabby with First Hawaii Title, my colleague Jerry Shannon. I am out of your TK office and Shannon's out of our Wailuku office. Your one-stop shop for title, escrow, and marketing needs. So just to let you know that we're here for you. If you guys need anything, broker prelims, net sheets, anytime, any day of the week, give us a call, send us a text. Gabby, I'm sitting open house. You guys need something, we're here for you. So please reach out, let us be your partner in title and escrow. We'd love to help you. And we haven't worked with you in the past. We'd love to earn that opportunity. So we're here for you again. We did do a short little slideshow. Petitions has been a thing with us again. So it's kind of just touching base on them. If you're familiar with, you know, what petitions are, land court and regular system. Is everybody able to see that, Ellie? Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
RG has the wrong screen share on
us.
The single screen.
Oh, yeah.
Is presenter screen on instead of the,
Here, on this one?
no, the one on the TV is live, that one's static.
Oh, okay. All right, well, it's short and
Go ahead.
sweet. It's not very complicated. I can't see this screen and I don't have it memorized, but we want to let you know that there are two systems, recording system, regular system and lat core system with the state of Hawaii.
Isn't that pre-licensing class?
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and if you're here, then you passed, right? And then we have our lovely double system, where recording charges are a little bit more, but yes, we do have properties that we sell that sometimes are double system, which is regular system and land court as well. What's really important to remember about your land court system is that there is a petition process if there are any changes to title from when they originally took ownership, okay? How that's very important, it affects you and your closing timeline. So please take that into account. If you happen to have an escrow where your seller says somebody died, I got married, divorced, anything like that, we need to petition for a name change. Right now, they're currently running about 10 weeks to get things approved. I'm sorry, 10 days, 10 days. I said, well, you know what?
Well, you never know, you never know.
I'm gonna say 10 days, but I'm gonna tell you, it was ugly last summer. They only had one clerk working, then one was being trained. So I'll say 10 days, but again, we are at the mercy of, 10 days to 10 weeks. We are at the mercy of land court.
So I guess if you have one of those, when you get the prelim and you notice the name's different, we should let you guys know. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So how can we help you in that case? If you're getting ready to do a listing, call us, give us the opportunity to run a prelim report for you. We'll let you know if it's a land court system or regular system. So I know you may be proactive and already know it's a land court system and already have information for me. I don't have any information from you and you said, hey, Gabby, just run a prelim report. I'm going to send it back to you and I'm going to say, hey, FYI, this is a land court property. So please get with your sellers, make sure there have been no changes to title since they took ownership. We're going to want to petition and be proactive about your new listing, right? You're going to want to be able to gather all that paperwork. We're going to want to get ahead of the ball game. You're going to want to make do the petition and make those changes before you go into escrow. And if we don't, just know that it will affect your timeline, right? We can say it's 10 days, but at the end of the day, we are at that mercy when we show up and there may be only one clerk and they're actually running really behind. So just to give you that heads up, right? We're here to help you navigate that. So be proactive, let us help you, but we'll want to get as much information from your sellers as we possibly can. Yes, ma'am.
Is there an area where land court is like predominant? Like, are there, you guys have a list of like, hey, let's keep an eye out for this, I mean, I know experience, but like, I just.
Can you repeat the area for the people on Zoom?
Yes, so the question was if there's a predominant area here on Maui that is land court, specific properties in certain areas. Wailea, McKenna.
Upcountry, certain areas.
Upcountry, okay. So I'm more familiar with the Wailea, McKenna area, upcountry, as Shannon mentioned. And then some can be double system as well. I have some Wailea stuff that is double system. Yes. Mark.
If it's double system, does it go twice as fast and cost half?
It costs more money, unfortunately, for recording
Same
costs,
time.
yeah, and same time,
So-
absolutely.
And why would somebody wanna do double system?
It's not why, it's how the state and how the property was already conveyed. Shannon, if you want to
So it's
expand on
not
that.
a choice of the
It's not a
property
choice.
owner, it's the way that the state viewed the property and where the property lies. And unfortunately, if the property is in double system, land court trumps. So the
Mhm.
property would be subject to the rules of land court.
And I heard that land court is full, right? Nothing can be
Yep,
recorded into
Yeah,
land.
you
No more.
can deregister, you can't add. So Tony's definitely right. The one recommendation that I would have, because what I can see on the back end as far as title is concerned, if you have clients or property that falls into land court and you are working with the seller, you don't want to work with the seller outside of escrow. So what that would mean is you don't want to have your client you wouldn't want to have your client start working with an outside attorney to start the petition process. You would want to have, start to work with Jerry and Gabby and have that run through escrow. And the reason why I say that is because, especially I see the recorders and I see our title officers, we run into so many difficult transactions, and I see on the back end where we're dealing with land court. We have clients who work with attorneys, then something happens, something falls through, the petition gets rejected. The client comes back to us and they're like, we need you to get involved. Guess what happens? We can't get involved. Land court, they won't talk to us because the attorney has the rights on behalf of that client. They won't communicate with us until that client, that attorney, basically signs over rights to that transaction and says, we're no longer processing. So then we go from 10 days to now we're pushing out 14, 15, 16 days, and everyone is getting frustrated at that point. So you want to work with your escrow officer who's working with title, who's working with our recorders, because they're experts in that field, right? They know that we have contacts with the bureau, our recorders have contacts, so it'll make the process much smoother than trying to work with the outside attorneys or outside counsels. Sorry.
Everybody be blind.
We have like 27 on Zoom.
On top of that, the conveyance attorneys that we work with, they're versed with drafting the proper exhibits, right? Because it's important, like Gabby was saying, we have to have the proper documentation. So there's a change in a successor trustee, there's a death of the initial trustee. We have to make sure, are you giving us the original debt certificate, the certified debt certificate? All of that matters because the conveyance attorney will draft that petition according to the documents that we receive, right? If we are saying to the attorney, we're receiving the original debt certificate, but we receive the certified debt certificate and we submit that document to the to land court and it's not the original, guess what happens? They're going to reject and the clock starts again. So all of those things matter.
You just lost everybody.
Here's the clincher, you guys. If we're gonna petition for anything in land court, we do need originals. So you can't give me a photocopy of somebody's birth certificate or death certificate. So that's also, and I'm glad we're talking about that. I don't know a lot of people that carry or have originals, right? Sometimes they're having to contact their vital statistics office in whatever state the death happened or, whatever. So that's also very important. So we need originals as well. So that adds to the timeline. So we're talking about a 10-day processing time from when we receive a full package and we submit, at which time we don't know if that's going to get rejected or not. But on that other note is that it's very important that when we submit for anything, name changes, marriage certificates, death certificates, that they need to be originals or certified originals. Okay, so that may add to the timeline of getting your clients to get the paperwork together. So the earlier you know, the rule of thumb is the better it is so that everybody can start working on your behalf.
Get the experts involved immediately.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if you guys heard over there when Shannon was speaking that, oh my gosh, what were you saying?
I said a lot of stuff.
No, we did. Oh my gosh, I totally blanked, sorry.
Picture of the body.
6 feet under,
That's
yeah.
an automatic reject from the bureau. They definitely don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I would say exactly what Mark said. Get the experts involved. How can you help?
Yes.
From the onset, order a broker prelim. Double check the vesting of the property. Any type of change, let your escrow officer know. Work with your clients upfront, gather the proper documentation. You have questions about the petition process, work with your team of escrow officers. They know how to guide you. Any questions that you may have, ask. That's what the team is here for, you know?
That is what I wanted to say. Sorry, I remember now, in case you guys didn't hear Shannon earlier, is that if we recommend that you start the petition process with your escrow officer, not outside with an attorney, because if you guys then want to get us involved, we can't act on your behalf until that attorney signs off. So I don't know if everybody heard that, but I thought that was an important piece.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
yes.
Awesome, ladies.
All right.
You made Such great.
Thank you so much. Happy birthday to all of you.
Yeah, birthday was born in September. Oh, here we go.
The good one.
Let's see the birthdays. RJ, can you put the birthdays up?
If you have it in land court and have no changes, that's easier though, right?
Totally
Or
easier.
you're-
You can do it through your transaction. Yeah.
Right.
All righty. So, I'm
'Cause it-
bringing Miranda up. One of the things I do the 1st of September is I pull the production of our top 20% to qualify people to be on our board of directors. And what I noticed, there were only 11 people who did over $10 million in the past 12 months, and Miranda was one of them. And so, I didn't even know that. Yeah, so I'm gonna give you this Golden Pineapple Award. Congratulations, and if you don't mind reading our mission statement. Yeah.
Upside down.
Yeah.
Just minutes.
I got it.
All
Bye.
right, thank you.
So KW's mission statement, to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leading.
Yay, thank you, Miranda. And happy birthday. Those of you in the room, happy birthday this month. We celebrate you and are honored to be part of your lives. And happy work anniversary. We know that 80% don't last 2-3 years. And so if you guys are still in it, congratulations and happy anniversary to everyone that's listed. So, okay, I wanted to give you guys, before we go into the announcements, an opportunity to fill someone's bucket if somebody did anything special in the room or on Zoom and demonstrated that KW culture. Yes.
You and Keone.
Oh.
You know, the other day I came in, and really needed a lot of help, and you guys, I didn't really give you guys any heads up, just kind of showed up. And you guys did like you always do, man, it just made me feel like, this is where I'm supposed to be, and just really pour in to help me every chance, and never let me down, so this was.
Awesome. Yeah, Barrett had a great story. I want to hear some open house stories too, because we just had our open island last Friday. But Barrett had someone call him from the reviews that the guy read online. And now he has a land listing over 1 million. You know, it's pretty awesome what you can do with just posting those reviews. So congratulations to that. Yeah. I have an open house story, but I want to hear any of yours first. Does anybody have a story from an open house or this past Friday? Yeah, Ryan, come on up. I wanted to bring you up anyway, because we need to model for all of Zoomland this Trapper Keeper shirt. It's awesome. How many of you know what a Trapper Keeper is?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Those of you that were alive in the 80s and 90s and went to school and had a Trapper Keeper, you probably had one that looked like this shirt. But great open house story. I was sitting at Benjamin and Todd's listing at Kihiakahi. Woman and her daughter came in, she was visiting, they were on vacation. Showed them the unit, asked them questions. We actually set a time to go see more units in Akahi the next day. And after a couple days, she starts sending me listings for $16, $17 million that she wants to go see. And so we scheduled those showings, and she's now has a buyer's rep with me, and we're looking at $16 to $17 million properties.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, Gary, and Colette both think that's how we're going to take market share, getting out and doing those opens. Does anybody else have a story?
Does it have to be from Friday?
No, any
Okay.
open house story. Right up here, Miranda. though. We don't
That's
have
maybe within the
to-
last week or so,
Yeah.
maybe last year.
Okay. Okay, here's my story. And I only say this to hope inspire you guys that, you put those hours in sometimes and nobody shows and it's kind of, it can be exhausting. Well, I worked with a client last Friday. Not a client of mine, one of our agents. And he was getting this contingent offer and it's kind of a bummer because West Side Luxury is not moving, right? So we didn't really want to accept it, but kind of didn't have a choice. And then Friday morning, I get chilled talking about it. Friday morning, he checks his email and this guy in New York says, oh, it wasn't the right time, but now it is. And so the agent called him and said, you need to get here now because we're considering other offers. The guy flies in on Saturday. They go look for 2 days and then, or prior to Friday. And then on Friday, we put together 10.4 million in escrow from him checking his email. So that's pretty incredible, considering if he had missed the email, he would have missed it, right? And then he's getting $2 million listing out of it as well. So pretty awesome what opportunities we have on island. Steve and I were joking earlier, you get recalibrated here. He's like, you're talking about, oh, it's a 500,000. Well, the rest of the country, that's luxury, right? And most of them don't even have $1 million properties. So the fact that we can do the same amount of work here and get paid like quadruple is pretty incredible. So I'm stoked for you guys that are starting in your business here and just try to not forget what's happening around the rest of the country because it's amazing the opportunity we have. Awesome. Okay, moving on. Work anniversary. Okay, Jumpstart starts tomorrow. If you know any agents that are in other companies, I'm gonna ask for your help. We only have 3 in for this month and the goal is 10 for every 200. So what I will do for you is if you know an agent that hasn't done business for a while, I will personally call them and invite them to do Jumpstart with us to try to support them in their business. So I could use your help. We need 7 more this month. So that's my ask. All right, moving on. Jonathan is freshly back from Burning Man. Would you like to speak to this, Jonathan?
Sure. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. You can probably hear it in my voice, but I'm excited to be back from 14 days in the desert. We are going to be doing our Hale Cow Cow on the 18th. We would love to have volunteers. I've been posting. There's been a record number of meals provided, and it just keeps growing. The island needs your support, so please just contact me. Let me know if you can help us out on the 18th. And also, I wanted to let everybody know I'm planning to do a culture event later this month, which is going to be a beach cleanup, probably at the end of the month. So keeping our island clean and supporting the INA. If you want to be a part of that, just keep an eye out. It'll probably be a slide on the next huddle.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. Don't forget, it's CE renewal year. Get those credits on who's done. Yes. Good job. And code of ethics. Don't forget to do that. We have an exciting week coming up, you guys. Colette is flying in next week. She'll be here for board meeting on Friday. And then on Monday, at the huddle. And then Wednesday, she's leading a West Maui huddle. We go there once a month, try to support the West Maui agents that live on that side of the island and end up driving here so much. So please join us. She's fireball and you will not forget those times with her. So, okay, Tauhana, stay tuned, or wait, money. Last Friday of the month, we are going over 1031 exchange. So please join us for that. How many of you guys have done a 1031? It's really helpful that once you go through it once, but to stay fresh and up on it. All right, open island. So the idea, guys, is instead of like, I got a bunch of calls last week. Oh, is it open island? Because we didn't have a huddle. And so the idea is we plan now for October. So if you have a listing, let's try to get all this information to RJ so we can come up with the one pager that has all your pictures and headshots, the houses, the times, the addresses, so that you can then provide that and we can have a easy graphic that you can share with your clients. Say, hey, come join us. Any questions? Yes.
Is there a due date on?
Oh,
We want
we
that-
should have a due date. Why don't we say the Friday before? Don't you think? What do you think, Keone?
Say again?
The due date for turning in your, that way we would be able to produce the graphic. Thank you, Angela. That's a great idea. We're still getting organized, so appreciate the questions. Yeah, then I guess we just like sold, we'll put sold across it, yeah.
Yeah, we can. The new owner can bring people there. Yeah.
You know what, that's not a bad idea to put in pending things, because it's like,
Well,
this
is it-
is how fast they go, it just been pending.
Yeah.
If you're in an independent complex, then that's also an opportunity to think about. I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah, I mean, alrighty, guys, I'm stoked to share what we got at Mega Camp. It's one of, my favorite parts about going. Gary basically has a chief economist and they're up on stage and it's Gary, the chief economist, Jason Abrams and Jay Papazan, basically our leaders. And they give us the most updated information. And I wanted to bring it to you guys today. So, we're gonna steamroll through it though. So please stop me if you have comments or questions. If you were at Mega Camp and you remember something you said that you wanted to include, please, raise your hand and contribute. So what Gary says is we have to look back in order to see how to move forward. And that's why he provides all this information each time. And the federal government basically wants us to be employed, right? And they want us to pay as little as possible. So they, Don's laughing in the back. And so GDP is basically our spending. So RJ, can you put up the GDP slide? Somebody give me a thumbs up if the slide's right, because I'm trying not to look over here because then people on Zoom only see my hair. So if you don't mind, that would be great. So anything around 2% is good. So we don't have rampant inflation, right? And so you can see, we've been waiting for this. The last 2 quarters, we're pretty much getting where we need to be, right?
Election time.
Yep. Yeah, right. And then GDP quarterly, you can go to that slide, RJ, next slide. Gross domestic product. Yeah, thank you. That's basically our spending, what we're spending. That's how Gary said, he's just looking at our spending. Yeah. Right, so if we're in a recession and we're spending less, we're unemployed, we're not gonna have as high of a GDP, right? So they've been cutting the interest rates to deal with inflation. We had the largest cut in the history, right? And so that's what they're looking at now. September 17th and 18th, the Fed is gonna meet and we're anticipating a drop, but just wanted to give you guys this. I also have it digitally. If you'd like it, let me know. Dean uses this to get listings. So we're just gonna steamroll through it and hopefully come away with a little more information. Yeah, there's great talking points. Actually had listened to Gary talk through it a couple times because they went so fast. It was hard to keep up. So I'll do my best. All right. So if you look at GDP quarterly, RJ, next slide. This year, if you look at the first 2 quarters, we're at 2.1. So that's right where the Fed wants us. And that's why they're thinking, okay, maybe we can lower. And then look at next slide, recession probability. This is crazy. What do you guys notice? This is all based off treasury rates too.
Where are we at?
We are at the probability of having a recession is the highest since the 1980s, right? And so good for us to know. Gary didn't make that gloom and doom. He's more saying, well, we need a recession to have the boom. So this is just part of the deal. And next slide, unemployment.
But it's coming in 2020 also.
Yeah.
That's how it went, like that's true.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's true.
So unemployment, the goal is to be under 4%, right about 4%. And that means basically everybody's employed or they're moving jobs, right? And so you can see we're about there. So that's a good thing. And then at the unemployment monthly, if you go to that slide, RJ, so in a recession, like we were saying, there's more people unemployed. They don't have as much money, so they're not spending as much, which obviously impacts housing. Okay, unemployment job openings, just kind of interesting, that next slide, if you look at May and how we're starting to recover. So the Fed doesn't want inflation, and they also don't want unemployment, right? Because they want us to spend as little as possible and to be employed. So what happens in real estate is we tend to lead the economy in a recession, and then we lead them out. And so what they were saying is, we've been experiencing this already, but the rest of the country really hasn't yet. And so the good news is when it comes, if it comes, we have 3 of Gary's predictions at the end that we will be leading the country out of the recession. So, all right. Okay, here we go. Next slide. Inflation annual. I get the right one. So yeah, so you can see that the steepest rise we've ever had in history. And then, yeah. And what they want is they want a soft landing, and that they're using interest rates to try to make it a soft landing, right? Okay, next slide. Here's inflation monthly. So you can see we're right about where we need to be. They want it under 4, right? And this is, next slide is just interesting. Inflation items with falling prices 2024. Any comments on that?
Well, cars are usually thing before homes, so that's getting a 10% reduction. We kind of see that in our market too, with the amount of inventory that's coming on, especially in the, more in the condo area.
Yeah.
But
Thank God toys are going down. Car really loves them.
What's the problem?
Smartphone. Yeah, so,
Home insurance is not on that list.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be their own insurance.
Home.
So basically, when they saw the unemployment going up like they did, they're like, what do we do to stimulate the economy? Lower interest rates, right? We saw this huge, fastest lower of interest rates in the history. And then here's the fastest rising prices. This is interesting. Healthcare at home. Anything else you noticed?
Next slide, Artie.
Next slide, RJ. I know it's a lot to keep up. I'm trying to-
Mission is sporting.
I just sporting events, yeah, especially here.
That's important.
T-Swift.
Yeah.
It's funny, the price of cars went down 10%, but car insurance went up 19%.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Down the hole.
right.
Seriously, guys. That's true.
Okay, this is, now we're getting to our industry. This is the fun part. Next slide, RJ, real estate industry. If you go to home sales annual slide next, we're not keeping pace with last year unless something changes. And that's where we're gonna get to Gary's predictions. And then the seasonal, this is interesting too. I know it doesn't affect us because we can do most of the country. Next slide, RJ, home sales monthly. The coolest thing when I moved to Maui and was doing real estate, you can do an open house every day. And most of the country, it's Saturdays and Sundays. And so I know we don't follow the same seasonal cycle, but if you take a look in the top right corner, yeah. This is the predictable cycle, but you can see, if you look at our year, we're not following that, right? The economy is having more of an impact than the seasons on real estate sales. Okay, next slide.
But now, I don't know if that's a huge surprise either.
Yeah,
That little downward, I mean, we're still falling from 2020, you know what I mean, when it was just like
Yep.
ridiculous, right?
so if you go to the next slide, please, home prices annual, RJ. We're 7% above the 4% trend line. They gave an example in Austin. Last year at this time, there were 2,500 listings. And this year they have 15,000. And we're kind of seeing the same thing here, right? With our condos and what's going on with short-term rentals. So the Fed would love to see us get to that 4% as a target. And we know that interest rates can change everything. And then this year, next slide, please, RJ, home prices monthly. Yeah, yeah,
No, the rates coming down, prices usually
Right.
go up, right?
right. Home prices monthly were still increasing from last year at this time. Next slide. So what he says, and the reason I'm going over this to the best of my ability at this time is that as a professional, we need to show up with weight behind what we're recommending to our clients. I heard someone in the office the other day said they were talking, I think it was Angela and Steve, saying, well, what do you tell people now when they are hesitant to buy the short term? Do you guys remember what you said?
I think so.
You want to share?
Well, I know one example was if you can find the right people who don't care if it's short term or long term, there's some, you know, let's just say retired folks or somebody who wants to live alone, it'd be a perfect time to get something because you lower price, and if it goes up, or sorry, if the short term vacation doesn't go through or doesn't matter either way. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, and you mentioned, I think, go ahead. Right. It's such a great time to buy, because if it does change, our prices are gonna likely take a bump, right? And so it's using the numbers and how we understand the market to kind of help people see the opportunity, right? And he also said that, when we're trying to figure out what's going on, it's helpful to zoom out and see what's happening nationally. I know a lot of this doesn't relate to us here on Maui, but when you can speak at a national level and then kind of zoom it back down to Maui, that's helpful. Okay, months of inventory, RJ, monthly. Okay, this is so interesting. Jay said, between 1982 and 2018, there were only 2 months, all those years, that had less than 4 months of inventory in the US. All those years, right? And recently, we've only had a couple months above 4 months of inventory. So it just kind of helps you understand the unique situation we're in. He said, and this is to my point, we had 9 people who did over 10.4 million in the past 12 months, which is pretty incredible considering the years that we've had, right? And if you're doing well now, he said, congratulations, because this is as bad as it's gonna get. And to have Gary say that from stage was kind of impressive. He said, you know, if you're doing well in real estate now, then you should feel really good about yourself, because this is his worst situation that he's seen. And he's been in it forever. So any comments?
Agree.
Yeah. Okay, next slide, new home starts. RJ?
He's, yeah.
Okay, awesome. I didn't know this. Do you guys know about how much percentage of the land is federally owned in the US? Any ideas? It's at 28, but thank you for taking a guess. That was way more than I thought.
Close, Ryan. Really close.
Ryan, you were the closest. You were closer than anybody else in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, you're closer than anybody else.
You're-
How much is it? Oh,
that's-
How much
there you
is it?
It's crazy though, if you think about that, right? And so I guess they passed a Houses Act, which is a way to release some of those federal lands for new home development. But what they said is, as we've seen, the solution is really at the local level, right? It's what's happening in our local government. So we're on pace, but there were 2 to 3 million homes not built during the Great Recession when we had the housing crisis, and so we're just not catching up, right? Okay, next slide.
And those who don't apply to Maui whatsoever.
Right. This is just interesting. New home sales and builder confidence. Pretty low right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, mortgage rates. This is another favorite slide. He said the good news is we're down 70 basis points year over year. And we're anticipating it to go down more, which is part of what impacts his predictions. Next slide, mortgage rates monthly, RJ.
Yeah.
What do you guys notice about this? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, next slide, affordability. How about this one? We're in the second most expensive time in recent years to afford a home, right? 32% affordability. They look at the percentage of your income. But then Jay said, well, is it a good time to buy a home? What's the answer?
Always, yes.
Yes, it's always a great time to buy the right property for the right reason, right? Because we can trust that 4% trend line. Sides per agent. Oh, I love this one. So interesting. What do you notice?
The agency. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, sides per agent. So, this is the average number of transactions that each agent in the country does. So we know it's usually, pretty low, right? We have not as many full timers in it. But if you look at from 2000 to 2007, we had over 500,000 get into the industry, right? The housing market's booming, I could be an agent. And then look what happened after and so the sides dropped, right? The number of transactions per agent dropped because we have more people working, right? And then you see from 2008 to 2012, people were running away, right? It was harder to perform as a professional, and we lost 330 agents in NAR. And then look what's happened in the past 10, and so then the transaction numbers go up, right? Because there's fewer agents to do the deals. And then in the past 10 years, we've had almost 600,000 new agents. Life has been good, right? For real estate agents, everybody sees the paychecks and the TV shows and like, I can do that. And so then more people are in, average sides are down. So, but interesting, 6.4. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Next slide, RJ, market volume per agent. So they're all kind of saying, oh man, it's hard. Affordability is hard, you know, it's harder to sell. Well, what I'm seeing two groups, honestly, in coaching and consulting agents on the island and you guys. There's one group that is hustling and getting out there and taking market share.
Mhm.
And there's others who are kind of frozen or bringing fear into their transactions, which has impacted their business.
Don't you think that's reflecting on the leadership though? Because
You're
that's.
damn right it is.
That's right.
Don't forget to mention to Colette.
Yeah, please, yeah.
You know,
Tell Clint that next week, right?
Because, I mean, even our closest competition, and we know those companies, they're not educating their agents through all of this debacle. And so fear is based on ignorance. If you don't know, you just stand still because you're scared or you don't know how to answer those questions. And if our leadership has us prepared months in advance, then we can storm ahead. I think that's just the difference in what our numbers are versus the
Yeah.
others on the island.
Thank you, Miranda. Miranda said leadership is a reflection of how you guys are doing. Thank you.
Keone.
Say it. Go Keone. Okay, what do you notice about this one? Thank you. Market volume per agent. We're all gloom and doom, but we're actually in the third largest market volume since 99, right? So those that are out doing business, you know, there's a lot of business to be done. And what I'm seeing is you guys who are productive in here, you have opportunities, you're scooping up the ones, and market share from people who aren't. Okay, I love this one. Next slide, mortgage universe. Any comments? Isn't that crazy? 70%, 6% of mortgages have rates of 5% or less.
It's good and it's bad.
It's an
bad if you wanna
opportunity.
get some listings.
Well, think about the wealth building though. Okay, next slide, homeowner equity, where's the opportunity? So if we know 38% own their home outright, who are those guys usually? Baby boomers, right? And so what do the baby boomers need to be doing right now?
Downside.
Downsizing? And stay, what did you say?
Fine.
Oh, dying, death, divorce, dying, diapers, right? They could be planning, if you know a baby boomer that has 3 kids and they have a $2 million in equity, they could downsize, get a $500,000 South Point, buy 3 other 500,000 for their, do pre-estate planning. I think that's the opportunity, Steve, is you just have a lot of ways that you can say, hey, let's take advantage of this equity. Let's do a HELOC and buy, help with a down payment for your son in Seattle, or let's get creative about it.
Their adult children move out.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people like to talk about the interest rate because that's the buzzword, right? And so it's all about monthly payment, right? What can I afford monthly? It's like when we go buy a car, right? You don't care what the interest rate is and all that, as long as the monthly payment makes sense, right? Same thing, just a bigger thing.
Yeah. And 38, which is probably most of us we're all in different categories, but have more than 50% equity. That's interesting too, right? There's opportunities for home equity lines to do down payment on investment home. And then 24 have less than 50. Okay, next slide. Yeah, that's the one that we said wow to last time. About 65 million homeowners owe less than, more than 50% in their house. And skip the Canadian market. Okay, here's where it gets to the fun. So 2025 scenario number 1. What? I'm missing all the good stuff.
Sorry, Dylan. Sorry, yeah. Canadian market. You don't matter.
Well, it does mirror the, yeah,
It's the same, it's the same.
it's basically mirrors. Okay, so this first, and this is why we wanted to bring this to you. And again, I have the digital version. It's a great way to talk to your clients about, you know, we have the #1 real estate company in the world, and this is the founder who's making these potential projections. So the first one is the most likely and most consistent, that we will have unemployment below 5%, interest rates falling to about 6, home sales at 4.5 million, and decline in rates will result in more home sales, but the recovery will be slow as rates are going to take time. And so they said, you need to be the wind ahead of the storm, or we put your sails up before the storm comes, whatever that.
Be ready.
Be ready.
Either way, you need to win.
And they said, if you call every single one of your people and just say, hey, at what price would you pull the trigger? Because a lot of you are telling me that your buyers are saying, I'm waiting for interest rates to come down, it's too high. And so if you had your roster and somebody said 6, somebody says 5.5, somebody said, then as rates start to fall, you have a call list, right? Hey, they're at 6 today, let's go, boom, you know? And they were saying that those of us that stay in conversation are staying ahead of it, so that when the rates drop, we're ready, right? We know where our people are. And as, like I said before, we lead out of the recession, we're likely to come out first. And you saw, as soon as the government sees that we don't have enough jobs and unemployment's high, they take immediate action. Just like when we had that inflation and we had the largest interest rate dip in history, right? Okay, scenario number 2. So unemployment 6 to 8%, which means they're going to drop rates farther, right? Because they want to combat that unemployment. And so the historically falling home sales that lead us into a recession will lead us out. And after 3 years of decline, the transition into a recession would trigger more aggressive rate drops, right? And then we'll have more home sales at 5 million. Okay. Oh my, thank you. Economic scenario 2.
No, he doesn't have it.
Sneeze.
Yeah, Jonathan's.
He doesn't have those slides.
Oh, okay, shoot. Well, we've only got 3 more. I'll just talk through it. Thank you. So the first scenario, we see, unemployment's, and then interest rates about 5, second one, 5 to 6, or 6 and 5 to 6, second scenario, more unemployment, more sales. So the third one is unemployment shoots, and this is crazy to think about, 8 to 10%. And it's basically a banking recession because real estate is so tied to the banking industry. There's a potential in, you've heard what's happening in commercial real estate, that there could be defaults. And so that impacts the banks. And that's like what we saw in the Great Recession with the savings and loan crisis. So that in this scenario, interest rates would fall to 3 to 4%, and unemployment at 8 to 10 million, and home sales at 4 million or less. So yeah, and that's when he said, what you're experiencing right now is as bad as it is. So congratulations. And people laughed in the room, and he was like, "No, I'm serious. If you're doing well and surviving as a real estate agent, it's amazing." RJ, do you have method of home purchase? So good news is, people thought, oh no, Zillow's gonna take over the real estate agents. There's all these digital platforms, and people are actually using agents more than they ever have. 89% use an agent to do a transaction. So you guys have proven yourself to be a value, and clients notice and see that. It's still going up and it's highest it's ever been. And that's it for the vision, statement from Gary. I hope you learned something. That was fun. Okay, quick question. Anybody know the single family new median?
1.25.
Oh, close. Did you say 2 or 3?
1.23.
Good, 1.325. That was very close. You were within a million. How about condo?
899.
It went up, 33% to 1 million.
Oh.
So these,
There's an anomaly.
yeah, it's probably Lucky Loas or
Yeah.
whatever, you know. These are available to 7.
But the problem is that media is gonna grab on that. If you
Yeah,
watch,
exactly.
Oh, condos went to 1 million, right? You're gonna have to explain to people.
Lucky Loa.
It's an anomaly because there was some big sale or something. in
Yeah.
there. And watch next month it'll
And
drop back down.
Yeah.
The response is, don't wait to buy your house.
Yeah, right.
Plenty of deals out there.
And yeah, the single family went up 10.4. This is an important one. I think those of you guys that have listings, if they're sitting longer, do you guys know what the new days on market is for single family?
91.
Close. What?
It's 111.
Even closer, 124 for single family. So when your people are complaining at 90 days, hey man, we're not even to the average days on market, right? And it's up 25.3%. What do you think condos?
125. 144.
Very close, 159.
Okay,
I don't know, 59. Yeah. But that's up like 47.2% year over year. So people are still trying to catch up to what's going on, and that's why we have to kind of recalibrate them at your listing appointments, you know, and just say, hey, this is the deal.
We saw that, yeah, we see this coming 2 months ahead of time.
Yeah. So your people that aren't getting educated and taught, those agents that you're working with, please help me. Let's grow the market center. We dipped under 200. We're I think 197, and my responsibility is to get 10 in a month. So if you have anybody that you've heard is not happy or could use an environment like this, please let me know. And take it away, Keone.
Yay. Let's all say it together.
Hey, Keone.
Be,
Keone.
pro. Be a professional. Yes, Jonathan, be a professional.
I just wanted to acknowledge Zora for supporting Holly Cow this month, and I wanted to support our huddle because of the enthusiasm. We have now full roster of volunteers this month. So just wanted to say thank you for everybody who reached out to me. We're now set for September, but we will have openings for October for anybody else.
Make sure you pay for it.
Yeah, cash up front. Okay, real quick, we are going to talk, since people have been using the forms, about what to do in section C4 of your purchase contract, the commissions, right? When you go out and you ask the agent, hey, are you guys offering commission? They go, yeah. You show the place, they like it, right? Your buyers like it. Ask them then how they filled out their listing contract. Is it A8A, B, or C? If it's A, that's like we've always done, co-op broker, right? C4 is N-aid. And if you read it, it says the seller will pay the buyer's broker directly. That is not a cooperating broker, right? So if it's B or C, A8, B or C on their listing contract, XC4 on your purchase contract. Because that means the buyer is going to either B is the buyer or the seller is going to pay the buyer's broker directly. C is they're going to negotiate it, right? Well, that's where it is, right? Right in C4. I ask every agent that puts a contract in front of me what they have. So I know this is still an ongoing issue. Some companies are getting rid of co-op altogether. And so I'm thinking about it. That's kind of the direction that the DOJ wants us to go in, right? So that's out there and not a side agreement.
Because it sounds like we don't get any money. You're talking about going through the brokerage for the other side, right?
Yes, Steve, it's called a commission. Steve just caught up. Steve just caught up. So remember to ask that question because it does matter, right? Coldwell Banker is gonna do all B and C. So you'll know that you have, if you're writing a deal up with them, you gotta put it in the C4.
BNC, you need C4.
B and C, you need C4, right? That's the code. That's the code to success. Now, I've even come across this one. What are you gonna fill in this scenario? The buyer was told 2.5% co-op, right? The buyer's agent. Buyer's agent says, no, I want 3%.
Oh.
And the seller said, okay. So now how do you fill that thing out? No, his buyer's rep says 3, right? Ours buyer reps say 3. Why would you amend the listing? Because it's now you're in the purchase contract, right? Between the buyer and seller.
0.5% on the purchase contract is the other 2.5% on the co-op.
Under what head, under what?
A would be, it'd be under B, the second one down.
Under the purchase contract, you're under C4, right? Under C4, you put the 0.5% of sales price, right? Because the seller's gonna pay that to the buyer's broker direct, and then the co-op does the other 2.5, right? It's not hard, you guys, just figure it out, right? Use the forms, So, those are all different. Yeah, just make the forms work, right? Because if we already have the co-op, you gotta use the co-op, but you can add the rest to the thing. That's what the purpose of it was.
Would you suggest in that situation to make sure the co-op's attached to the purchase contract so the other uneducated agents don't think?
Yes, right, thanks for that. That's another thing, right? Send your co-ops first before your offer, if it's a co-op situation. Because you want to make sure you get paid first, right? They send back the co-op and then you send the offer over. That's your I'm getting paid form. Right? If it's not a co-op, then it's going to be in the purchase contract. So you're good, right? So if they say, oh, we're 8A, then just send over the co-op till them executed.
So you said as a company, we're considering doing the same, like Coldwell Banker.
Maybe, because the DOJ is pushing us to do that. I just kind of got to see if there's any issues with it. We'll make them be the guinea pigs on that. I don't think there will be. I mean, it's just somebody paying. I mean, the seller's is paying in that situation. So it's just a matter of them paying one way or the other, right? Either direct to the brokerage or through the co-op. So DOJ is trying to get away from these third-party agreements, right? These side deals, basically, which is a co-op side deal between company and company, right? Brokerage and brokerage. So anyway, that's the latest and greatest. Any questions? B. Pro.
Alrighty, if you're here live, I printed out 15, and I can make copies for those of you. These come from this playbook, and those are the people that were on stage at Mega Camp. And what they do is they make a one pager that explains how they're doing their business. And what I love is they're all different, right? Somebody's all Instagram. Yeah, so feel free to take one. These are leftovers from last week, but this is the one for today. If you could take one and pass it around. So Emily left her corporate job and she's from North Carolina. And she said, okay, I got to close something in 90 days or I have to go back to work. And she didn't close anything the first 90. So then she said, okay, I got to really get serious about this. And she started a 10-4 model and then got 10 transactions in the next 90 days and was able to stay away from her corporate job. Now she's making $200,000 to $3,000 a year. 4 things, simple, 10 contacts a day. So she was new, she didn't have a database to call, so she just started trying to make sure she met 10 people, go to the playground with your kid or the soccer games or wherever. And then, and here's her list, her daily checklist in the middle. And then 10 appointments a week for lunch dates, coffee. And it doesn't have to be, do you have anyone that can buy, sell, or invest, right? If you like to golf, go golf. Do a couple rounds of, a couple foursomes, threesomes, but I mean, enough of that. Sorry. I didn't mean that. Oh my gosh. Pineapple's getting to me. Ah. I was thinking about if like you were golfing, you had 3 other people that were golfing with you, that would be 3 golf. All right, preview 10 homes. You guys do caravan. This is an easy way to really know your inventory. Super impressive to go to like South Side and congratulations. Did we get an announcement yet?
I did,
Did you get an announcement yet?
Well,
the election.
Election?
Oh,
Oh.
yes.
Congratulations.
Did you get a call?
Oh, congratulations.
Result.
I got it in.
Yay! And Liza is our South Maui director, so that's gonna be a super fun meeting with Liza leading. Often we get 40 more people there, and there's often 10 homes, the easy way to do a preview.
She won.
I don't know about Sue. Sue, did you get any news? I don't know if you're on. And then the other thing is 10 cards. And the way I did and what she does is, you have an open house and then you just, if you can get their info, you write a thank you follow-up after the open, or you could do it after your meetings. So, I mean, pretty simple getting to her goals. So yeah, feel free to take those. If you are here and didn't get one, I will make you a copy. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Thank you too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who voted for Liza and I and Sue.
Okay, so this is good, especially, well, one, anybody who was involved, and then if you have clients, Lahaina Upcountry, the Spirit Horse Ranch, it's free equestrian therapy. So you go up there, it's very professional, it's very confidential, and then you go up there and you just kind of like pet the horses and walk them around. It's amazing. Keone and I did it last week. I'm going again this week. But especially for like kids and stuff that, you know, they're back to school and they just don't know, like that's a really, really good way. Because, you know, therapy, there's like a little funk, like it's not cool or whatever. But I think this would just be like a really, really good thing for clients and, you know, upcountry people, Lahaina people, just to get out there. And Kaiser is sponsoring the program. So it's free. Like you go one time, you go 5 times, it's all free. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really cool. Yeah.
Very good.
And you get to hang out with horses.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I wanted to do this because you could have show the screen.
Yeah.
And then upper-
So you could, I'll leave it here so anybody here could just do a little screenshot of it or the QR code. And then 2, just to let you know, you kind of have to plan around it because it is like all the way up there, like you're going backside Hana. Yeah, Kahiki Nui, like by Bowley's Burgers. So you don't get any phone reception either, which we learned, but it's kind of a nice little break and getaway. Yeah. So I'll leave this up here if anybody wants it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Steve, come on up. We have an opportunity now, if you have a listing or buyer need, this is a great time. We can do like 33% of our business within our company.
Gotta wear glasses now. Jeez, this turned 46 here. Okay, so I have a South Point coming up Thursday. I know there's about 9 already on there right now, but this is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. We are gonna price it accordingly. We're thinking around $525, so kind of a reasonably priced for South Point there. 525,000. Yeah, 0.00. If you want that. No, 2.75% co-op. So if you signed a buyer's rep for 2.5, then you might need to go back and redo it. I'm kidding, sorry. 2.75, so they're offering a blank. Yeah, 2nd floor unit. Call me. We're gonna have it up. Tim's gonna be there Friday. Open house. Might need some help throughout the week after that. I'll probably take a few of the weekend ones. So give me a call.
Hey. Okay, Barrett, yes, we got the green light. Yeah, it's all signed. No, you want to talk to Zoom too, because there's a buyer, potentially a buyer there.
Good.
Here.
Right on. So I have a listing that's gonna be coming up. It hasn't gone on the MLS yet. There's some discretion there. Some family issues are the reason to sell. I don't want to say too much, but this could be a really, really great opportunity. It's in Plantation Estates. It's 217 Plantation Club Drive, which is lot 11. If you know Plantation Estates 1. The guy I pulled a CMA on it, and so 301 Plantation Estates is listed right there beside it at 19, I believe it's 195. The CMA had 19 like as a median price, like I think it's like 25 was the high, and 125 would be like the lowest you would sell it at. Well, this client calls me and tells me, he's like, look, I want to sell it and I just want to get 1.2 for it. That's all I want to get for the property. And I said, well,
It's a
you
real
know,
person.
it's a real, yeah, it is a real person. We verified, driver's license, all that stuff. But anyways, I was talking to him and I said, well, look, as your realtor, I said, I feel like it's my responsibility to you to let you know that we can probably do a whole lot better than that. The lot right here is 19. At least let's go for like 14, 15, 16. That's, 16 is 300 under market value. We ought to be able to do pretty good. And so he disclosed some things to me. I'm not exactly going to say, but his, as real estate agents, our goal is not our goals. Our goal is what their goals are. And he has a very serious situation in his life and he wants to sell this thing right now. He said, so what he basically wanted to get out of it, he said, I want to get 1.2 out of it. And I told him that I said, well, if you're wanting to sell it fast, it might be a good idea to build commission in for a buyer's rep so people come look at it. So that's why we're going to sell it at 129. So basically he gets 1.2, everybody gets paid to come and be a part of it. You know what I mean? So the 2.5 commission's built in for the buyer's rep already into this. And it's about 600,000 under market value. I'm trying to get this thing sold the next 2 to 3 days. I wanted to offer it to Keller Williams first before I go out around above Keller Williams. But I have other people that call outside of Keller Williams I can call, but I just, I love you guys. And I would like to see somebody jump on this and win here. Cause this is a really, really good opportunity right now. Cause no matter what you talk about in the economy or in the interest rates, this is 600 grand under market value, so if you know any investors, if you know anyone, might want to jump on it. Go ahead, Liza.
What's the square footage of the property?
So it's 2.03 acres, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2.03 acres, private water. It is lot 11, and I can send you guys a map. I pulled the CMA, and so the closest thing to it is there's a lot right beside it, and it's 2.03 acres also, and it's 195. So it's this is a great opportunity if you have just an investor or someone who's
What's the address?
the address is 217 Plantation Club Drive. 217 Plantation Club Drive.
Want to be an escrow.
Hey, everyone, can I chime in here? And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I actually went through something similar, but I did a fast people search check and the numbers weren't the same. And I ended up calling the real seller. And I'm sure yours is legit, but they are prowling on us big time. He sent me his ID. It had all the information, everything checked out, but it was not the real guy.
Well, hey, I can appreciate you caring enough to say that. So that's, and hey, who knows what'll happen, but.
No, I'm just saying in general, I'm just saying it just happened to me 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I even sent a listing agreement and then he didn't sign it. So that was kind of a red flag. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that we have to be super due diligent and not just take an ID for fact. We have to check
Sure.
Either forewarned, fast people search. And if the phone number they're calling you at is not the phone number that is associated in fast people search, I called the actual number and that guy, he said this was the second agent that somebody was trying to scam his property, undervalue, hurry up, gotta sell it right away, some kind of
Okay, yeah.
emergency. So it is happening. I'm not saying it's yours. I'm just saying, just be on the lookout because it's happening a lot.
Well, thank you for that. No, that's good looking out, good looking out. We've done some due diligence. I feel like it is the person, but again, maybe we'll, because of what you had said just now, maybe we'll dig a little deeper even to make sure, but we've got a signed listing agreement. He did sign it and we're moving forward with it. So.
Joyce, we appreciate you sharing those.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good
Yeah,
looking out for
We
sure.
appreciate you sharing because we need to share these stories with each other, guys, right? Because get burned once and let's save everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I even went to the land, 13 acres in Kipuhulu, and I drove all the way up in the boondoggies, and I was like, okay, this is good to go until it
what, I just checked one more time, kept calling the number on Fast People Search and they didn't answer the first week. Then finally got a hold of the wife and she gave me his number and found out that, you know, they've had it since and I pulled the prelim and I kept asking the guy who wanted to sell it, when did you buy the property? He said 2008. Well, the prelim showed 1976. So then I knew he was, you know, off his rocker.
No, that's absolutely great advice. I appreciate that. You know, one thing about this guy is we did some due diligence to find out who he was. And everything he said, I went back and checked and it all checked out. The year he bought the property, what he paid for it. He knew a lot about the property. So, you know, but again, you know, thanks for looking out. And we'll definitely do due diligence on that for sure.
We're gonna do one more.
Yeah, we'll do one more.
Didn't,
Yeah.
when Fidelity came last week, didn't they talk about some verification processes that they as an escrow company had in
Right.
place because it is
Yeah.
a real problem?
Yeah.
I think Joyce said her
Check it out.
big seller was like, I need to sell to pay for my emergency medical situation. And,
Yeah.
you know, everyone's like, oh, okay, you know, but it turned out to be a scam.
Yeah.
We'll let you
Well,
guys
hopefully
know.
not. If it does, I'll be some pro.
Well,
You know?
no, and
But
writing
you know,
contracts is a good practice anyway.
yeah,
I mean.
yeah, we're gonna show up and keep trying and, you know, see what happens, you know, but. Yeah, but again, like I wanted to, you know, hopefully this thing works out that it is legit. If it is, I'd rather offer it to Keller Williams people first, you know, if it is legit, it does work out. It's a really great opportunity for anybody that has a client that's an investor and just looking to get in.
We'll let you know.
Yep, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Well, thanks for hanging in there, guys. Love it that you show up. Please enjoy some birthday cake and celebrate our birthdays and, yeah, have a great week. Go get 'em.